y'all, correcting my mistakes. I'm gonna grab this thing and I'm gonna test fit it, but Amazon came through, baby. Boom. So here we go. Quite sure this is the Dorman part number for the oil pan, the correct one. I'll get into more detail on that later. And I know one of these other boxes is like the freaking engine prime tool for the oil pump. I know one of these is like oil filters and blah blah blah, but anyway, yeah, the stuff came, so yay. Okay, back on the FreeWorld once again. So I'm on my way over to Sam's shop to correct some mistakes that I had made before with the oil pan and everything else. So now we have, I want to say, the correct oil pan for the gasket that I want to use. But along with that, I gotta grab some RTV. So I'm pulling up at Walmart, about to grab some RTV, grab some motor oil, and I'm also gonna grab a cheap oil filter. Not super cheap, but just a cheaper filter than the wicks that I have, because it's gonna be a throwaway filter just to try to continue the break-in process. So here's everything right here. So that's the oil pan, then I got the two filters in there, then I have the prime, the engine prime tool thingy, and yeah. So just gotta find somewhere to park. It sucks because I mean Saturday weekend is prime time for everybody and they mama to be out here at Walmart. All right, so here's the stuff. Went to Walmart, grabbed the Fram filter. These two is the ones that came in the mail. Like I said, I'm not gonna waste these on trying to break it in. I'm gonna use this one. Got some oil, and there's a prime tool, and here is the gasket maker. So the pan, I'll get into more detail with that later when I go up under there and take the other pan off. I just put a couple bolts up in it just so it holds it up so no extra contaminants get up in the motor. But this pan, the opening here, is actually a bit deeper than the one that came on the truck, because the one that came on the truck is one I bought off of somebody on Marketplace, and that came off an actual vehicle that was manufactured probably like in the 70s. So that one has a shallow, or what they call a thin gasket. It's a part of a 4-piece gasket, 2 corks on the side, a rubber at the front, a rubber at the back, and it's thinner than what this one is up here. But these aftermarket gaskets that were made for the 2-piece rear main seal and driver side dipstick, they come with a wider opening here, and I think that's similar to the 1-piece rear main seal cars. But like I said, this one still has the back provision for the 2-piece. So still got to get up in this thing, man. Still got to figure out a way to pop the hood. From what I do remember now, I never actually put, there's like a little pin that you put onto the latch mechanism that holds the wire. I never put that pin back on, which is why I left it partially popped. But Sam, probably thinking he was doing me a favor, pushed it closed, not his fault. And now I have to figure out a way to get up in there and get it open. So without a lockout kit, I think my best bet is to try to figure out, since this inner fender well is out, can I get my hand up in there by some miracle enough to actually release this thing? Because that would really help give me some light up at the bottom, well, down at the bottom under here, while I'm trying to continue what I'm doing. Okay, so here we are back under here, and the plan is right now, because Sam isn't here, so I don't have, and I forgot my 12 points again. But with this being a 12-point head, I can loosen this up, hopefully, with one of these open-ended ratcheting wrenches that I have that are 12 points. Hopefully I can just get it off with that. And I actually have the other ARP stud kit, well, 2 of them, with regular hex head 5 points, so I can use the 5-point bolt to tighten up and torque the new pump to what it's supposed to be. All right, peeps, so here we go. It worked. Where the heck is it? So I actually used, it was the 13 end of this set that I picked up off Amazon a while ago. I literally got this entire set to do OBS lower control. Well, no, I lied. To do OBS motor mounts. And I got the whole kit. But this thing comes in handy, the swivel head plus like the ratchet action. So anyway, use the 13 on this ARP bolt here, and I got enough torque on it with my arm, especially because of the length too, and was able to break it loose. So now I got that off. I just gotta screw it the rest of the way. And I mean, I might still use it. There's nothing wrong with the bolt. It's just that it's just awkward to find that hex head. or not, whatever. So time to get this pump off and try to take a closer look at that. Boom. All right, and also there's my shaft, and the shaft itself, let's look at that real quick. Looks like it might have a little wear here. I don't think that's anything crazy. It could take a small amount to do that a little bit, but we'll see. And then on the opposite end, this thing is still holding strong. I didn't have the plastic sleeve, again, overkill, ARP, but there's other companies that do it or make these. These are the metal sleeves that hold the drive onto the actual oil pump itself. So that's still in good condition and a lot of engagement. So I know that should not have been the problem with this. Also, I mean, I'll kind of run a test, put it in like a container of water or something. And, oh, dang it, I'm dripping everywhere. But I'll put it in like a container or something and try to see if I can get it to draw up any liquid at all with no problem. I did have a gasket in here. The guy that built the motor for me, Tort, he actually is not like a huge fan of these. He has used pretty much just the surface of the block and called it a day. I've ran it before and didn't run it anything wild. And I mean, I figured a gasket couldn't hurt, but sometimes a gasket can hurt. This is literally like a 50-50 across the internet. Okay, so here is a look at the new oil pump. So this right here is a Mylodon, and the part number is 18750, I believe. Yep. 18750, and this is a Mylodon. I usually use what's those people's names? Melling. I usually use Melling, but I can't remember why I bought this. I bought this a while ago when I was going to revisit this whole problem, but yeah, so this is the one that I bought. It's high pressure and it's high volume. Now, I didn't think that, I should need it, but kind of be on the safe side. Like I said, when I first started this thing, for whatever reason, it only had, I think, like a little over 20 PSI. And that was brand new motor, cold start, thick oil. So everything should have been in my favor to at least be rocking 50, maybe 60 on a cold start. I mean, the Kodiak does that with the Vortec that's in there, and that thing has over 200 something plus thousand miles on it. But also something to note with this one is the other one that I had actually had a thicker pickup tube. This one is the 5/8 that goes into the 5, and this also accepts the 5/8. I guess because of that Melling style, it was a, what's that called? It was the high volume, maybe that's why it had a thicker tube. But this one also claims high volume, so I don't know. I just want to have decent oil pressure, that's all. So here it is. And here is the proper tool in order to install it, because when you're trying to install these things, it's really hard to try to like get this in place. And then the only thing that you really have to bite on is this tiny lip here, which like it's going to be really hard, because even if you try to hit it from the top, it's so weird. I hate it. So why not just buy the tool? They're cheap, and this one right here is for the 5/8. And the way that it works is it goes on like that. I'm trying to hold them both at the same time. It goes on like that, and this thing here, you get the point. But yeah, there we go. All right, boom. This goes in there, bites right onto that lip all the way around, and then you tap on this with a hammer and you're good to go. So I'm going to install this one in here, so that way I can still kind of maneuver it and swivel it to get it to be the right depth when I install it with the pan on. Are you too? All right, so hopefully here you guys can actually see the difference on camera. I can see it with my eye, but this is the difference here. This is one, and this is the oil pan that I had bought off somebody on Marketplace a long time ago. This one is the one that was actually manufactured by GM eons ago in the early 70s. Well, I'm sorry, in the 70s and early 80s. This one is just a remanufactured version of what this one is supposed to be. But I'm guessing over time, in order to offer and mass produce the one-piece gasket seal for these, they had to actually make this, I think, what might be like a one-piece style. So in order to get away with using those, the one-piece gaskets, you have to make sure you have an actual aftermarket purchased pan. If you have a pan that came off in the original 70s, you're going to have to go with the 4-piece gasket that has, and they consider this the thin style gasket. So here is what's considered the thick style gasket, because this here actually drops down a bit lower than this one does over here. This one actually stands up a little bit taller than that one does. So with this one here being lower, it's able to accommodate that thicker gasket up front. So here's an example of it sitting in the aftermarket pan. Now you will see still slight gaps here and here, but that's again with no actual pressure being put on. But when you actually put a bit of pressure on, it sits way closer to flat than it does over here. Now this one did come a little bent and I had to push it back into shape, not the gasket of course, but the actual pan. But this fits closer, way closer than this one does. So now I'm going to take this gasket, put it in this one, and show you guys what I mean. Okay, and here we are in the original GM manufactured pan, and you can see right away there's a way bigger gap up in here and also even on that side. So this definitely is not as much of an open mouth here to accommodate this thicker gasket. So that's the difference in the fitment between the two. This is sitting up ridiculously. So to try to get into this thing, I've never cut one of these open before. This is going to be a first for me. And looking down here, this probably was an oil filter that gave me the hardest time. Now I didn't put this on with any ridiculous force when I did it. I don't know if it's because it was sitting, fresh motor surface, I don't know, but yeah, this was hard to get off, so that's why it's all dented and whatnot. But I'm gonna try to get myself somewhat familiar with this tool, because like I said, we didn't find any crazy metal in there, but I don't know, who knows. But we're gonna try to get this thing open and figure out how this thing works. It looks pretty self-explanatory. Just get on top, back this off until it is able to seat flat. And there it is. The rollers are on. And I'm just going to tighten this up until it starts to go kind of in the can-ish. So here's another look at it. So this is flush. This here is flush to the top. The rollers are making contact with it, and so is the actual cutter itself. So I guess I'm just going to kind of spin this around and get it to start cutting the groove, and then tighten it up more and more each time. Tighten it up some more. Oh, that did it already. This thing's very easy to use. As long as you can get a grip on the bottom of the filter. There we go. Off it goes. All right, so I'll pull this thing off. Ugh, a little metal, trying to cut myself here. And start to get to this filter media. All right, y'all, another hot and miserable day, but out here trying to get it done. And operation right now, get this freaking hood popped, man. So I'm gonna grab this dang jack stand, because I already done jacked it up. Looking at all of my beautiful work, looking like garbage now. Ugh. All the attempts that I don't die. And here is the tire, man. I freaking miss these, boy. These Mickey Thompson Degans, oh my gosh. Aggressive tread pattern, but they're not like really loud like the mud terrain. That's definitely a big difference when it comes to these tires. If you want an aggressive tread but you don't want to be howling down the highway, then definitely don't get mud terrain. Get like some regular terrains, all terrains that have a nice pattern on them. But back over here. So here's the plan. Plan is, now that I have it jacked right there up on the axle, I'm gonna grab the stand, put the stand up under there, so just in case it decides it wants to come down, just my luck, I won't die. But now I have a lot more clearance in here to try to get my body in here to get up to the top. The camera's gonna make it look easy, but I need to get to that latch in the middle so that I can undo it and pop this freaking hood, because this is really holding up progress here. All right, success. So got up under there, used the, what the heck was it? Oh, the snap-on lockout kit, which ironically is the same way that I got it open last time this happened, like years ago. Anyway, this thing, this is not a good look, man. Not a good look. All of this stuff, everything was pristine. I mean, even looking at this, it looked crazy. Watch this. Oh shoot, that was a bad example. It didn't work. This is so thick, man. Anyway, long story short, you can kind of see it here that the gloss is still there. This is still like an immaculate gloss black under here, because this whole support got powder coated when I took it out. That one also is powder coated, untouched. It's just dirty, as you can see. So I still got a lot of cleaning to do. Got to pick up where I left off at. And for starters, I just want to get that distributor out so that way I can make sure that where the distributor meets up with the oil pump and the drive and all that crap, nothing went wrong there. Hopefully if it did, it's something I can fix, nothing big, and I'll have oil pressure. That would be fantastic. But other than that, a couple things to take care of. You see that? That is a whole hornet's nest. I don't think it's active, highly doubt it, but I just gotta break it up, get rid of it, and move on. Then I think I saw some bees over here at some point that kept coming in, like down in here. I don't know if it's in the fender or what, but I don't see a whole bunch of them, but I definitely saw some bee activity coming in, or I'm hoping it wasn't a hornet. Either one sucks. But long story short, gotta secure my safety first, but wow, this thing sat for so long. Okay, next problem. I might be tall, and I'm like 6'6" and all, but this, I jacked it up, not as high as some of you guys might have seen, but this is a significant lift on this truck. So it was already a little bit of a doozy, but with my height, I was able to overcome a bit, just with a bunch of abdominal bruises. But this thing's tall. So I gotta buy me another, what's that thing called? I have to buy me another stool to stand on to work on this thing. I was thinking about popping this fender off again. I mean, I kind of could. I really don't feel like it if I don't have to, but it's only bolt down there at the bottom where it meets the cab, a couple along here on the radiator support, and probably like one up top and maybe one in a hinge. And that should be it. Then I can kind of walk into the engine bay like I was doing when I was first, you know, trying to do this whole thing. So I may end up doing that again, but I don't know. So next order of business, I'm gonna move these wires and I'm going to poke that wasp nest and run. That's the plan. All right, so I got a rake, a stick of a rake. Hopefully nothing pops out. Now or never. Oh, all right. I don't think nobody's home. I think we're good. Oh, whoa, what's that? No, I told him like he'll we'll figure it out later. You said don't know what?
Don't figure it out later, because that's what he do. He still shit that he forget.
Ah, okay, okay. Okay. Okay, back over here again. The plan was to actually put the oil pump and take the distributor out to check that out and make sure the teeth aren't all grounded up and whatnot, because I kind of get a feeling that it might have something to do with like the distributor gear or something like that. But in order to tell it, I'd have to pull that out. But things kind of take a turn, well, took a turn for the worse, and this thing has to be gone within a couple of days. So what I have to do in order to get that right is I definitely have to get a windshield, because depending on where it goes or where it ends up, I gotta make sure it looks somewhat presentable so I don't have people constantly calling. I mean, yes, it's a full vehicle. It doesn't look horrible, especially if I wash it, put some tire shine on it. It's way more than presentable enough to actually sit on the street. But to try to avoid any drama, making some phone calls to some of the local spots to try to get some pricing. So far, it seems like $290 is like the norm for mobile services to come out, get a new windshield on it. But gotta get a new windshield put in this thing, and then still make some more phone calls for tow trucks and so on and so forth. So that's probably gonna wrap it up for this one, just because I got a lot of things to figure out. I mean, I grabbed the motor the other day, the small block Chevy. That was supposed to actually be for this, just in case the motor that's in here now didn't work out with the oil pump. Then I have a spare, it's actually a Vortec motor that I'll be able to put in. Bottom end was supposed to be solid. Only thing that this Vortec that I picked up might have an issue with is it could have been timing, but I'm actually going to pull a distributor on that one too, and probably change the cam. So yeah, so that other one is either going to be the backup plan to swap in this to get this on the road ASAP, or it's going to be the one that's going to the shop to get the 383 built, and that'll be for the Kodiak. But you know, we'll see. So all right, man, I'll see you on the next one, and hopefully things map out. It's not looking good, but all right, peace.